Yeah, next leg's going to be complicated leg. Massive contrast from leg 3, which is about Southern Ocean, lots of miles, keeping the boat in one piece, and long time in the south, just sort of managing the conditions. This leg sort of is going to be a big shift up, back to pushing the boat really hard, dealing with all the small details, make sure the boat's positioned really well for the conditions coming up, and it's a north to south leg as well, obviously. So we're travelling back up through the weather rather than along with the weather system. So very different leg, but I think one everyone's looking forward to and getting back to. Just starting off, the first challenge of this leg is sort of getting up to the southeasterly trade winds, and that can be pretty challenging. Typically we come out of here at Itajaí, upwind, light airs, can be quite sort of slow going at start, but with the sort of added pitfall of there can be quite a lot of clouds around and squalls, which can easily mix the fleet up. And we're obviously fighting to be the first boat to the trade winds and then extending, but a cloud in the wrong place can sort of quite easily upset that for you. So it's a challenge. It's very different to sailing in big winds in the cold, but a challenge nonetheless. Once we are in the trade winds, it's about position yourself to get up through the trade winds, back up to the doldrums. Typically the doldrums are less significant than in leg 2 when we're coming down and further east, but they're still there and they still can be an issue. And where you position yourself in the doldrums, you've got to think about where you're going to be when you get back up to the sort of coast of the States and back in the synoptic weather. So there's a lot of sort of forward planning you have to do, managing the short term to make your long-term plan come out. So you've got to get through the doldrums nicely in the right place to then sail fast up to sort of that altitude of the Bermuda High. It's all about getting through that Bermuda High cycle in good shape. The high is always replacing itself coming off the coast, and you don't want to find yourself in the wrong spot and getting rolled over by the high or sailing too many miles to get around it. So that's always a challenge. Then after that, it's the Gulf Stream, which always has a sting in its tail. There's plenty of potential for sort of big winds, good squalls. There's a lot of current there, obviously, and that can be always a big challenge before getting back up and across the Gulf Stream into the colder water, back into the fog as you approach Newport, and potentially some quite light airs that can really mix things up right to the last minute. So very different challenge to leg 3, but a challenging leg all the same, and one where we're gonna have to work really hard, push really hard, and make sure we've got the boat in the right place all the time. I mean, I've done a slightly longer leg in the 2008-2009 race, 44 days, but that was before I was a father. So 38 days at sea was obviously a long time to be away from the kids, especially when you count the time in Cape Town preparing for the race. So knowing that they were going to be here waiting on the dock was something I was looking forward to for well ahead of arrival. And they were, obviously we got ashore a little bit later than planned, but it was a wonderful moment to see the kids, and they're old enough now to understand what I'm doing and what a challenge that was. So it was a really nice moment to be sort of reunited as a family back on the dock. I mean, I think that the biggest challenge for leg 4 is like getting all the details right and really making what you're trying to do in the short term work towards your long-term plan. So rather than having a big weather event or something really specific that's going to be a challenge, I think this next leg is going to be all about keeping the tempo up, keeping sailing fast, and then always being in the right place at the right time and making those smart decisions. And that attention to detail, I think, is going to be really key. Yeah, we've obviously been sailing with the ocean pack on board for every leg so far, and gathering data the whole time we've been on the water. I think that data's now obviously at the end of every leg that comes off the boat, and it gets checked and vetted, and then hopefully it's going to be published very soon. And it's always kind of cool when you can go onto the NOAA website or something like that and see your data set that you've gathered and know that it's of use to the scientific community. So hopefully it'll be up there soon.